why did she do it? Hello investigators, and welcome back to another investigation. Here we'll be discussing a certain goddess from the Elden Ring series, Queen Marika the Eternal. And I put forth the question, why did she do it? I mean, she had everything. She had godhood, she had an empire, she was literally anyone who could have stopped her was defeated or joined her side, and yet seemingly she just threw that all the way. She even got her perfect golden child in Godwin, and potentially had a hand in the Knight of Black Knives, his death, or not really death, and even went so far as to try to shatter the Elden Ring itself, the source of her godhood and power. So the question is, why would she go through all of that, all the war, all the death, just to throw it all away? I know this case has been tackled by others, but today I'm going to throw my hat into the ring and see if I can get to the real root as to why she did it. So, without further ado, let us begin. And like any good story, I must start at the beginning. I won't get into every single detail, but I will summarize. Queen Marika was a shaman from a village in the Land of Shadows. See, the shaman were rounded up by the Horn Scent to have their flesh flayed and put into jars to make some kind of jar saint entity. It was a very grueling, taxing, and painful process. People literally begged and pleaded to have almost any other punishment than being put into one of those jars. And Queen Marika's people were no exception. So if there were no exception, then what happened? Well, maybe there was an exception. Maybe Marika, seeing all this, actually offered her services in the hunting down and gathering of shamans from other villages. I know it's something preposterous, why would you do that? But throughout human history, people have done just that, sold out their own people, may not be from the same village, but their own people, to spare their own village or themselves from any further atrocities. We don't know this for sure, but there is a bit of evidence to substantiate that. Like in the story trailer for Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, we see Queen Marika atop of the tower and near an elm. And despite the state of undress that she might be in, if you look at her dress, it's the same black satiny dress. We see the golden bands about her wrists, and potentially what could be a tooth whip. A tooth whip is an implement of torment that the haunted would use, in this case explicitly on the shaman, to make oozing inflamed wounds so that when the flesh was touched it would meld more harmoniously with theirs. Again, quite gruesome. So why would a fellow Newman, a fellow shaman, have one of these implements when they are explicitly used to torment and prepare her own people to be put into jars in some horrific ritual? Why would she even bother having that? It makes sense if she was working with the Horn Scent to help spare her people that same fate. It makes sense. Again, it has happened throughout human history that people have done that. Now, I want to, again, go back to this trailer, and I believe Letta said that there was a betrayal.
Mikula the Kind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal.
And some people will probably think, well, yeah, the Marika betrayed the Horn Scent, but what if they betrayed her first? What if she went through all that, betrayed her own people, not her village, but her own people, helped hunt them down, and even went so far as to help prepare the other shamans for the ritual, just so that one day she comes back to her village and find it being attacked or it's empty. She goes to her superiors and asks why, and it's the same thing. They needed flesh for the jars. What if the Horn Scent betrayed her first, which kickstarted all of this? Because she went through all that pain, all the betrayal, all the hurt she probably saw in her own people's eyes, and just for all to be for nothing in the end, because her village was taken. Everyone she cared about was gone, dead, put into jars, and that's what kickstarted all of this. Well, if that's what happened, and considering the treacherous nature of the Horn Scent at that time, I think it stands to reason that is something within the realms of possibility that could have happened. I mean, at that point, what do you do? Just broken, defeated, everything you did was for nothing, all the horrible atrocities was for nothing. As you all know, the voice of the greater will are the two fingers, and a little further ways from the shaman village are finger ruins. What I believe happened is that after all that, she heard the call of the two fingers, the quote-unquote voice of the greater will. She went there and it told her what she needed to do to become a god, and there wasn't enough information to really speculate on how she got what was required for the sacrifice, how she even got to the top of Enir Ilum. What we do know is she succeeded, so whatever gruesome sacrifice that she had to make of maybe some of the other shamans and no doubt a bunch of horn scent and became a god, became the vessel for the Elden Ring. And with that newfound godhood and power, conscripted a bunch of people and took bloody revenge on the horn scent that it was still being perpetrated into recent days in the game world. And this is where things kind of get messy, because from here we don't have exact dates or times of when things happened. All we know is that she did this, then this, and this, and this, then this at certain points in time without any real sense of when they happened. But if I might postulate further, I believe the order of events would be close to as follows. I believe she leaves the Land of Shadows because by all of her power, she's just one person. And we've seen from some games, as powerful as a god may be, there's not invincible. So she leaves, finds Godfrey. He becomes the first Elden Lord. They courtship and whatnot. They go around conquering a bunch of places while doing so, building the Golden Order. Her as the Godhead has the twins Morgoth and Moog, and then at last Godwyn, the Golden Child. He helps with the conquest of the land. At some point, this Radagon fellow seems to come into the mix, goes and sends him to fight the Carians, has 2 wars, break even, forge an alliance with the Carians in the Academy of Raya Lucaria, with the marriage of Radagon and Renala, calls Radagon back for some unknown reason, has more children, this time with the second Elden Lord being Radagon, one of those children being Mesmer, then sending the contingent of Flame Knights with help from the Carians, hence Rel'Ana being with him in the Land of Shadow when Mesmer was on his burning crusade, as it were. I know there's some missing spots here and there, but this is just a rough outline of what I believe the course of events were, or at least something like it. I've kind of veered off from the point, but it all ties back into it. Please bear with me for a bit longer. My next point would be, like the other aforementioned children of hers, she had a lot of kids, even a lot of kids we don't even see. The Wandering Mausoleums are literally the resting places of her unwanted children, for Pete's sake. Now, why have so many kids? Maybe she wanted a big family. Maybe that's all there is to it. But I think there's another reason, a deeper reason, a darker reason. I feel she wanted so many children to replace the village that she lost. Because we saw when we go back there in Shadow of the Ocean DLC, her village is empty, completely gone. No one is there. I think she wanted to repopulate and replace them, but do more than just that. Now that she's a god, her children will be demigods. They'll be strong, powerful. We see how powerful these demigods are all throughout the game. They're monsters, beasts who can hold back the freaking stars, who can spawn glorious golden blades that fall down from the sky. And one who was so awesome, he convinced the dragon to join him. I mean, these people were incredible. So I think she wanted to repopulate her people from her womb in the image of divinity. They would never be taken advantage of again. They'd be too strong. Any one of them could fight back and kill droves of horn-scent warriors who would have been sent there to capture them, to put them in jars, but they would have been far too powerful for something like that. A mere horn-scent warrior. Even Crucible Knights pale in comparison to a demigod. So yeah, I think the reason she had so many kids was because she wanted to make sure that the people she cared about were never weak again, could never be overcome again, never be put into jars again. The need to protect her family was so great that she even had Malakath, her half-brother, her shadow, find the Gloam-eyed queen who has the power of destined death, the rune of death, had Malakath defeat her and seal away destined death, which, if I'm not mistaken, is what all been kicked off the Golden Order to begin with, hence why she's eternal. Without the rune of death in the world, things cannot die, things remain eternal in perpetuity, because only with the power of the black flame of destined death could even she be killed, because the power of death and death, the power of the black flame, was used to slay other gods in times long before. So with all that being done, death effectively defeated the lands under her control in some way, shape, or form, thanks to her alliance with the Carians, sending off her armies off to other continents, other war zones, who could be fighting and conquering in her name. She has her beautiful golden child, and Godwyn. She seems to have all her ducks in a row. She sits at the top of a potentially eternal empire as the eternal god queen of everything. So now we at last get to the question, why did she throw it all away? And I believe she threw it all away because she began to grow suspicious of the Weird Will. More importantly, I believe it was because she began to feel guilty of what she did. But then her questioning did come. She wanted them to stop just relying blindly on faith and actually study and look into more what this golden order, this golden power is that she has, because she's using all this power and she doesn't even 100% understand where it's coming from or what it's really supposed to do or for or be. All she knows is she was promised godhood by some magic fingers, and that was that. Gained the power to get her revenge. And so she did. But in doing so in this way, she was being manipulated by this greater will, or probably by the fingers, really, to enforce a kind of order onto the world. It doesn't have to be perfect order, but an order, because that's what they want. They want an order. I think the golden order. The elden beast is order. The greater will wants order. Sphinx wants some kind of order. Until she ordered everything the way she wanted in her image with this golden power. But in doing so, she did a lot of bad things. And no place is that better exemplified than in her children. Almost all of them, save for Godwin, were born cursed to reflect the sin, to reflect the atrocity that she has committed. No doubt that's why the wandering mausoleums are filled with the dead demigod children. Probably died from their afflictions. Let's be honest for 10 seconds. Melania, Blade of Mikola, everyone's favorite, was probably headed there too, if not for Mikola himself. Her sins manifested as these maladies for kids, killing them and cursing others. And seeing this and everything else she's done, I think she wanted to look more into the Golden Order, this Elden Ring, this Elden Beast, these fingers, and the greater will. In fact, there is a conversation you can have with Melina, spoken by Queen Marika herself, that states, "I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order, through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past, my comrades. Why must she falter?" She wanted to search the depths of the Golden Order. She wanted answers to what was really going on. Now she kind of sort of got what she wanted. I always felt like she was coming down from that high. Really like, oh wait a minute, I did some pretty awful things, and I let something into me that I didn't even know what. With all that, I believe she became dead set on trying to, at least on some level, right the wrongs that she committed. I cannot say for sure what she found in her investigations of the Golden Order. Perhaps she found some kind of dark truth of the Elden Ring, or revealed the manipulations of the greater will, or the influence of the two fingers. I do not know. The thing I do know is that those investigations alone did not yield the answer enough to fix what was broken, so she had to resort to something far more drastic. So dead set was she on fixing what was broken that potentially she had something to do with the Knight of Black Knives. What do I mean by that? Well, we all know the Knight of Black Knives is the knight that Godwin, the perfect golden child of hers, was murdered. The first of the demigods to die, right? Ultimately, what I'm postulating here with that is, what if, to show her commitment to making things right, to setting things right, she had a hand in killing her own perfect golden child, killing Godwin, the very symbol of everything she wanted the other demigods to be. It makes a macabre kind of sense. This person is a representation of everything you thought you wanted, but also a representation of all the bad deeds that you did to get there. So first thing to do is to wipe the slate clean, get rid of that person, at least to begin with, because you know the cursed mark of death and everything that goes along with that, and death. So there's an entire plan in place. Then involves Ronnie, the Black Knife Assassins, and the Age of the Dark Moon, and Ronnie's ending, and all other some such things that would potentially go along with it, which from there led directly into the war which had no victor, war between all the demigods. No Lord arose, but again begs the question, why did she put her children through all of this? A way just to clean up more of the mistakes? That part I don't think is true. I think this part specifically, the war which no Lord arose, was to potentially make a new, again, Elden Lord, to make another greater rune to add to the Elden Ring, to mend the world that she broke, to change them. Maybe it's like a one mending rune per customer kind of deal. Again, an ordered system, so you get one mending rune and no more. We see Marika's rune, it's that like T-shaped rune that we see about her all the time. Her kids and other else's would be different. We see that all throughout the game. So that's where I think the war was for. Get another mending rune, change things for the better. But when nothing happened there, she did the whole Hail Mary pass in the Shattering and went into just took a hammer to it and be like, you know, screw you, screw your manipulations, I'm just gonna break you. And Radigan got involved and just, well, we have the rest of the game to explain the rest of that. It kind of brings an end to this video, investigators. I personally think that the reason why Queen Marika went through all this was to try to fix fix what she did out of profound sense of guilt and becoming the very thing she sought to destroy. Again, I would like to thank you for your time, investigators, and as always, have a pleasant evening.